Bookcase and Coffee presents Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance.
Welcome to the Buzzing About Romance quick shot of romance. On this episode, I am joined once again by Heather, who you can find on Instagram as Minnesota Hockey Mom Reads. Welcome back to the podcast, Heather.
Thanks, Leah. Thanks for having me.
Always. So tonight, Heather and I are reviewing Dangerous Love by Riley Edwards, which is book 1 in her brand new series, Takeback. Do you want to read the synopsis from Goodreads?
Yeah. Dangerous Love is the latest romantic suspense thriller from USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author Riley Edwards. New series, new steamy, new hot heroes. Welcome to Takeback. One night, no names, 2 hearts forever changed. There wasn't a lot that surprised me. My years in the Navy taught me a lot. My years hunting human traffickers taught me the rest. Meeting a beautiful woman in a bar, spending the night with her should have been a blip on my radar. Instead, I spent years trying to forget her. In the middle of a rescue operation, fate dropped her back into my life, but there was a twist. She wasn't alone. I lived and breathed romance. I was a true believer in love at first sight, happily ever afters. Then I found myself staring at a sexy stranger across a crowded bar, fell in love, and spent 6 hours living out my wildest fantasies. But I ran when I learned love at first sight stole your breath and left you afraid of a broken heart. Brooklyn Saunders has a secret to tell, one that will change everything for Road, one that will bind them together, or separate them forever. Road Daly has one shot at building a family he always wanted. That is, until his life implodes and his worst nightmare comes true. Can he repair what time has broken and save their futures? Takeback is an off-the-books special operation task force composed of military contractors and U.S. Marshals. Their mission is simple: to save those who have been taken.
Okay, so this book was released June 29th, 2021, so it is brand spanking new. And the tropes are one night stand, secret baby, suspense, instant connection, and second chance, because they definitely have a second chance in this one. And the steam level is 3 because there are not a lot of steamy moments in this book, but the ones that we get are super hot.
Well, and I think there's just like so much build up and like sexual tension, and I don't know,
because it is kind of a slow burn also, because they don't really, there's not a lot of actual on-page action until later in the book, but you don't miss it because like you feel that connection that they have off the page. You feel exactly like how they react to each other.
Oh, for sure.
Like, keep going.
I was telling Becky before you hopped on that this was a book that wasn't a quick read. Maybe for some people it was. I forced myself to put it down because I really was loving it so much that I kind of wanted to stretch it out because I really loved these 2 characters. Well, and really the whole team. I mean, you and I were texting with Rachel back and forth, and we were like, oh my God, this team, we love them so much.
Oh, I know. Well, and it's funny because I got an ARC copy of this book, as did you, and I got it and I read 6 chapters because I was like, I need to know what happens because of this stinking blurb. Like the blurb
was
for this book, it was really good. It pulls you in. And I read 6 chapters, but I had 4 other books that I had to read. But I got it. I'm like, I need to read this because it's just one of those books that I have been looking forward to because she has had this on her Amazon pre-order, and there was a little she actually, I don't know if a lot of people caught this because you didn't, but there was a blurb, and I think she completely changed her mode because I'm 90% sure the blurb is actually going to be book 2 because they talked about this not knowing names and stuff like that. But she reworked it, and I was like, I want to know why things are different now.
Oh, I didn't catch it. No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm still far behind. I mean, I think I have to read like 18 books or something to be
We
completely
will
caught
talk
up.
about that. We'll talk about
Okay.
that at the end. Okay,
So
so
their
let's
initial meeting. So
Yes.
she's sitting in a bar. First of all, her job is so awesome. So
Oh,
she's
I
an
know.
audiobook narrator
Uh-huh.
for romance. So, and she does a lot of romantic suspense, right?
She does, but Letty, her best friend, owns a romance bookstore.
I know. I was like, I want to go to that bookstore so bad.
I just want to be friends with both of them. Like those,
Well,
they are our people.
Awesome. And she's at they're at a book convention
Mhm.
in Washington, D.C. And
Yes.
it's like a romantic suspense book convention, book signing. And I'm like,
She's like,
where's this happening? Like Rachel, Leah, and I need to get there.
I know. Like this
So
is exactly what I would like dream to do. Not the other part, but like the
Right.
book convention part. Like
It'd be
that's
so
my
fun.
dream.
So she's sitting in the bar doing some work, and this guy walks in, and she was like, he is like the hottest guy I've ever seen. He's so built, like he's not a regular guy. I know he's not. And then so she's trying to get Letty to come down, and because his friends show up, and she's like, they're all like gorgeous. And
Uh-huh.
so
But she's really drawn to this one guy in particular. And then she looks up and the table is empty, but he's right next to her and like says hi to her. And she's like, oh my God, he's right there. And then
he's so hot.
things lead, but none of it happens on page. Like they talk about it later in the book, but you don't get that initial meeting. You just get them going into the hotel room, and then how they're not going to give names. It's all spontaneous. They're going to be spontaneous, and no names, no nothing, no details. And then you get into chapter 2.
Right. So I was super frustrated at the beginning. I was like, so it like ends basically when the hotel door shuts, and you're like, what the freak? That's where you're leaving this? Like, what? And then I was super frustrated by that. But then as the story went on, it made sense. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad she did it that way. Like, I'm really
I know.
glad
She's
did it
like,
that way.
she was a dirty tease.
Right.
Honestly.
But so then it's like you get the tease, the hotel door shuts, and then all of a sudden it's like bang, you're like right in to their second chance.
Well,
and I was so confused at first. I'm like, what is happening?
Well, and you're right in the action too, because it opens back up where Takeback has gotten a case basically, and Letty's sister has gone missing, and so Brooklyn and Letty and Letty's parents are there, and Rode hears her. Like he hears her, like he sees like the back of her and has this like instantaneous like feeling, but he doesn't know why. And then he hears her voice and he's like, it is her. And then when the mom is like whispers the name.
But he heard it. Remember, he heard it. And he was like, Remington, like what does that mean?
Exactly. But he finds out very quickly what that means.
Very, very quickly. I just
like I don't want to ruin stuff, so it's kind of hard. But let's talk about
it's real hard.
Let's talk about Brooklyn and Letty just for a little bit, because their relationship. So Brooklyn's parents passed away when she was younger. As a teenager, and Letty's parents took her in and basically raised her as their own. And she has this like her and Letty have been best friends for years, and then they took her in and they were basically raised as sisters. And I love that dynamic that her parents have, like Letty's parents have with Brooklyn. Like they understand because they were best friends with her parents.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a sister, so I don't know. So I feel like they're as close as sisters, but then almost like your best friend you're almost sometimes closer to your best friend. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in all the elements, like it's almost like Letty and that. Yeah. Like you can't have one without the other.
Right. Exactly. They like are two halves of a whole. And I have a sister and I love my sister, but my best friend, like, she's my chosen sister. So it's a totally different dynamic. Like,
Sure.
and I think that's the big thing. Like they were chosen sisters from forever. And then they had that sort of pseudo family by default because of Brooklyn's situation. But I just love that Letty's parents pulled her in and loved her and were supportive and understood that she still missed her parents, but they talked about them. And there were moments where Tally and the dad, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
That's Michael.
Whoops. Sorry. I mean, there's a Becky right there. I couldn't remember Michael. Anyway, so Tally and Michael, I should have remembered that one.
That's okay.
We're talking about like how proud of her parents would be, because they knew that they truly knew them and truly understood how they would think, and just the decisions that she has made and the way that she has created this life. They would be so proud of her. And I thought that was a really profound moment in the book.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to give away, but Remington.
Oh my gosh.
So
freaking adorable.
Right. So she's a little baby.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say he's a little. I mean, he's not a baby.
He's not a baby.
He's 5. And so Letty's family just took Remy in, like he's theirs. Like he calls Michael Pop, and like the wisdom that he passes on to this little 5-year-old boy is so hilarious. Like, and the thing is I think because I have my youngest is a little bit like Remy, where he comes up with these one-liners and everyone's looking at him like, where did that come from? Like, you know what I mean? He has a sense of humor and he's very wise. Like, I think he's and he's super intuitive, but I think that comes from Brooklyn, where she's a very intuitive person, but so is this little boy.
Right. Well, and he's so like beyond his years. Like, he is this tiny little package of love and understanding. And because even when he meets Rode, like, there is an understanding there that you see it from both sides. The way that Riley Edwards describes just the fact that when they look at each other, like that initial, yeah, like they don't even interact with each other. Like, they make eye contact and you can just feel the emotion and the connection that these two feel when their eyes meet. And it just, she honestly, like, she did such a great job on this book. Like, I have loved her books for the longest time, but this one, it was that next step that I wasn't expecting from her.
I feel like every part of it was so well thought out. So like Remington, he made a couple comments before he had even met Rode about how he wants to be a military man and he wants to go after bad guys and protect people. And like, it is, to me, I felt like that's like Kismet. In your blood. You know what I mean? Like, I think
he wants to be this certain type of man, never knowing that is who his father is.
Right. Right. And I think that's sort of, it just brought everything full circle. And the other thing I think too is that they're both 5 years older. So they're mature. They're settled in their careers. They're not young. They're not like going to fight over, stupid, like somebody's there's not going to be little squabbles that don't matter.
Well, and I love the fact that there was no miscommunication between them. Like, they both left that initial meeting feeling a certain way, but they had made the decision to do it the way they did. They both have regrets about that, but they're both so mature about the way they handled everything with Remy and the way they handled coming back together. Like, they both had genuine fears about it because they didn't know this other person. Like, they had this insane, intense connection, but they didn't truly know them. Like, they knew their soul, but like, they didn't know them personally. And I just loved how there was no miscommunications, no false starts on any of it. Like, Rode, when he was like, he jumped all in from the get-go and was like, this is mine. Like, You are mine. He is mine. You just basically need to get on the same page.
Yeah, and they were really good communicators. Like it was their, they talked everything through. I think there was one little tip, and that's the other thing I appreciated is that that's something I don't want to say modeled, but I mean, you're married, I'm married. It's not always super
It is not
smooth.
sunshine and roses.
You're not always going to agree with somebody. So I really liked how she kind of threw that in there too. Like they didn't agree on something, but they didn't storm off, and they like talked it through.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I really like that. But okay, we did not talk about our disdain for Kiki.
Okay,
she's horrible.
She is the worst, and same with Desi, the worst. We are not going to say anything about them aside from they're the worst. The worst.
Kiki is Letty's sister.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of almost like by default, Brooklyn's sister. Yes. And she is probably one of the most spoiled, snarky, just character you don't like.
The worst. She does have a moment, which I'm not going to tell you at all. She has a moment that I liked, but she was still the worst. Like, it does not make her better. Awful. Still awful. And that is all we're going to say about Kiki, because that is all that she deserves. So
and we didn't talk so much about the team. And I think that is something in military suspense, especially, and in Riley Edwards' series, the importance of a team. So they're small teams. I think I texted you at one point and I was like, well, I mean, obviously I love Rode and I'm in love with Remy, but let's talk about Wilson and Reese.
Yeah. One thing that I think that she does so good in her books is the connection between the men. Like, oftentimes, like, you'll get like a circle of girlfriends who are tight and loving and they have this insane connection, but you don't always get that on the other side. Like, there are books and authors that do it great, but Edwards, every single series, it is this tight-knit group of guys, and that is the core function of the series as a whole, and how these guys relate to each other, and how these guys are family, and how their hero or their heroines just expand on that family.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that she does a really great job of like writing about how men solve problems with men. Mm-hmm. So they're just to the point. I mean, they don't,
Yeah, they're very, and one of her favorite sayings is straight up, like straight up. Like, I'm telling you exactly how I'm feeling. There is no question about what is coming out of my mouth right now. It is full truth, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I feel like immediately you feel the connection of that team and the guys. I mean, I think at one point, was it Reese that walked in with Rode the first time they walked into Letty's store?
Yeah.
And they were both like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. They knew. Like, everybody knew. Like, the minute, like, there was any, like, the minute they saw Rode interact, like, they all knew. So, one little thing, because we are running out of time. So, side note, I and Rachel, of course, who we have to talk about when it's Riley Edwards, love the tie-ins from the different series. But you have to read the other series to understand where the tie-ins happen. So, this is why Heather says that she has her marching orders and she will be reading the multiple series because it comes from both sides, which is I love, because she doesn't often do that. Like, there's little tie-ins from both sides.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it because I finished the 707 series this week, and I think I posted on Instagram. I finished the last book, Freedom, and I listened on audiobook, and it was amazing on audiobook, by the way.
Good. Oh, that's good.
I ugly cried. As the book was wrapping up, I knew it was coming to an end, and I sat and I ugly cried because I was so sad that the series was over.
But you have 7 more books of their kids to read now.
I didn't know that then, but now I do. So I'm like, okay, good. I can't.
We had to enlighten you. Okay, so this is kind of a rhetorical question at this point, but Did you like this book?
I loved it. It was so great. I think I've recommended it to like, I don't know, at least 5 people this week.
Yeah, I freaking love this book too. I adored Rode and Brooklyn. I thought their connection is amazing. Remy is adorable. And I love the fact that he's present in the book, because a lot of times you'll get a secret baby, you'll get a parent, like a single parent, and the kid isn't, they're there, but they're not there. But he was there a lot. And there were a couple pivotal moments that happened like with him present that were big moments.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would typically like this book?
I really think I think about somebody who watches mystery, or I'm a huge true crime podcast person. If you like a mystery show or a movie, a solidly written book. And if you're a suspense lover, for sure. Also, I think that there are some people who really need to feel a sense of deep connection with characters. Mm-hmm. This is the book for you.
Yes. Anyone who loves an instant connection, but with not a lot of sexy times, will really like this. Mm-hmm. But like I said, when we get them, they are steamy.
Right.
Steamy times.
For sure. Susan Stoker fans, for sure. Yeah.
And Anna Blakely fans also, because she writes in that fan fiction world that Riley Edwards like taps into with the Susan Stoker, which I don't think you've read her, but you should. So.
I am reading Defending Allie right now.
Well, that's Susan Stoker,
to read.
So.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, you already answered this question, so you would definitely recommend this book.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
I would too. I have, of course, because as soon as I get a Riley Edwards book, I like shout it off the rooftops that everybody needs to read it because it's that good.
I think I posted about her, 4 or 5 times this week. I'm sure she's like, hey, crazy stage 5 clinger here. Like, lay off, girl.
She's like,
everyone needs to read these books. They're so great.
Well, and she just keeps getting better and better every series that she writes. Like, it just is getting better.
She has a lot coming out, too.
She does so much. And I'm so excited.
So you have all the list of what's coming out for her next, like coming up. So
she has one in August, one in September, and one in October. So Triple Canopy, book 4, which we don't have a blurb for yet, which I'm like distraught about, comes out at the end of August. Okay. Then what comes out I don't remember what comes out after that, but the second book in this Takeback series is October.
Okay.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, because now I can't remember. I'm on the spot.
Well, now it's the fall. We know
it is in the fall. Yes.
Okay.
But okay.
We can look it up and add it to the website too.
We will do that. But thank you so much for joining me on this quick shot of romance as we like fangirl all over the place and we just can't stop. It's that good, people.
You know, we were texting back and forth like, what book should we talk about? And we're like, duh, Dangerous
I know,
Love.
Seriously. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
It's so good.
So good.
But thank you so much. Yeah. Happy reading, everybody.
Bye.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.